Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, and today in this video we're going to be taking a look at this interview that John Boyega did with GQ. And in this interview he pretty much points out what a lot of us, and I mean a lot of us, have basically been saying about Disney, about Lucasfilm, and the fact that every single time someone from Lucasfilm or someone from Disney goes out, whether it's on Twitter or on Instagram, or even if they post a YouTube video or whatever, and they go on and on saying about how they support, they support things like BLM, and they support, minorities, and that they support. They keep talking about how there's racism in the workplace and how we need to deal with it and all of that stuff. And the rest of us, rightfully so, we roll our eyes and we just sit back in our chairs and go, oh my God, it's this shit again. And the reason why we do this is because we know that all of these people in Hollywood who love to go out and talk about talk about how they care about minorities and they want to fight for equality in the workplace and equality for women and women in the workplace and all of that stuff. The reason why we roll our eyes at all of that, it's because we know that this is absolute bullshit. We know that they do not mean even a single word that they're saying, and we just keep asking ourselves, why are they doing this when we know that they're full of shit and they know we know they're full of shit? Well, the problem is you still have a lot of people, whether it's on YouTube or on Twitter or on their websites, whatever it is, their websites, their news sites, or their blog sites, they constantly go on to defend Disney and Lucasfilm, saying that what they're doing is right. These are people who care about minorities. Why are you against them? If you're against them, you're an ist or a phobe. And basically they'll do anything to defend Disney or Lucasfilm, trying to make them seem like they're this fantastic, wonderful company that supports minorities, that support equality for everyone, when we, or basically people who have common sense, know that they're full of shit. And even John Boyega in this article, someone who actually worked for Disney and Lucasfilm, is pretty much calling them out on their bullshit in this interview that he did with British GQ. Now, I'm not going to read the whole article, even though I do recommend you go read it. It is actually a pretty interesting article, but I'll specifically focus on the part that where he talks about his experience with Lucasfilm. And it's right here specifically. It starts basically here. In the continued afterglow of that first franchise defibrillating Star Wars film, he continued to notice a stylist he'd hired when he first started doing press, cringing at certain clothes I wanted to go for. The hairdresser who had no experience working with hair like his, but, quote, still had the guts to pretend. And he decided that he could no longer grin and bear it like a grateful competition winner. During the press of The Force Awakens, I went along with it, he notes. And obviously at the time I was very genuinely happy to be a part of it, but my dad always tells me one thing: don't overpay with respect. You can pay respect, but sometimes you'll be overpaying and selling yourself short. With the Lucasfilm branded elephant in the room acknowledged, it is even harder to ignore. This is Boyega's first substantial interview since finishing the franchise, his first since last year's The Rise of Skywalker tied a highly contentious, hurried ribbon on the 43-year-old space saga. How does he reflect on his involvement and the way the newest trilogy was concluded? It's so difficult to maneuver, he says, exhaling deeply, visibly calibrating the level of professional diplomacy to display. You get yourself involved in projects and you're not necessarily going to like everything. But what I would say to Disney is, this is basically what we've been saying. This is basically what a lot of us have been have been doing for years now. Some on this platform way longer than I have. But this is basically what we keep. What we keep calling Disney out on. And he says this: do not bring out a black character, market them to be much more important in the franchise than they are, and then have them pushed to the side. Yes, that is exactly what we have been saying. These are companies who use minorities, who use women, who use members of the LGBTQ community in order to push their projects, whether it's their films, their TV shows, their comics, or whatever it is, games, whatever. But then when you actually go and see the movie. If you actually sit down to watch the show, if you buy the game or if you read the comic, you realize that it's barely even there. It's barely even there, and it was all just a marketing gimmick. It was just a marketing gimmick. They would go out and say, "Hey guys, we have a new project in line, and it's going to be female led, or it's going to feature characters who are members of the LGBTQ community," and it's all there as a shield because they know that that's all they have to do is say these lines like it's going to be female led or it's going to feature members of the LGBTQ community, and they know that all of these news outlets are going to go out of their way to defend it no matter what. Even though there are people who say that, hey, we don't really care about this stuff, we just want a good story, and then boom, you're automatically labeled an ist or a phobe. It's insane. And then when the project actually comes out and you look at it and you see it was all just a marketing gimmick, even then they'll still pretend to that there's nothing wrong with it because they've already made their bed and now they have to sleep in it. Oh boy. All right, where it's not good. I'll say it straight up. He is talking about himself here, about the character of Finn, the former stormtrooper who wielded a lightsaber in the first film before being somewhat nudged to the periphery. That's right. I'm sure you guys all remember the marketing for The Force Awakens, where we kept seeing Finn with Anakin's lightsaber, and we all think, "Holy shit!" Like, okay, this is a stormtrooper, a former stormtrooper um, who ditched them, who abandoned the Empire or the First Order, and is possibly Force sensitive and is probably going to become a Jedi. Now that in itself was interesting, and we all thought maybe Finn was going to be the main character, but then of course you went to go see The Force Awakens, and it was all a lie. Finn ends up getting his ass kicked, and then of course the real star of the trilogy, Rey Mary Sue Skywalker, it turns out to be the main character. And then Finn's character, the one character that people were probably the most interested in, gets just shoved to the side. In The Last Jedi, he does absolutely nothing. And then in The Rise of Skywalker, his role was just screaming Rey all this time. All the goddamn time. He literally did nothing. Oh boy. He's talking about himself here, about the character of Finn, the former stormtrooper who wielded a lightsaber in the first film before being somewhat. Oh, sorry, I already read this. But he's also talking about other people of color in the cast. Naomi Aki and Kelly Marie Tran, and even Oscar Isaac, a brother from Guatemala, who he feels suffered the same treatment. He is acknowledging that some people will say he's crazy or making it up, but the recorded character hierarchy of The Last Jedi was particularly hard to take. Excuse me. Like, you guys, and he goes on to say, like, you guys knew what to do with Daisy Ridley. You knew what to do with Adam Driver, he says. You knew what to do with these other people, but when it came to Kelly Marie Tran, when it came to John Boyega, you knew fuck all. So what do you want me to say? What they want you to say is, quote, "I enjoyed being a part of it. It was a great experience." Nah. I'll take that deal when it is a great experience. They gave all the nuance to Adam Driver. Well, debatable. All the nuance to Daisy Ridley. No, there was no nuance to Rey Mary Sue Skywalker. No nuance whatsoever. Let's be honest. Daisy knows this. Adam knows this. Everybody knows this. I'm not exposing anything. And yes, okay. At the end of the day, it's true. A lot of us with common sense already knows this. I'm not basically saying anything, I'm not saying anything revolutionary here. This is all shit that we already knew. So if this is shit that we already knew, then why am I even bothering making this video? Well, it's because, again, there are still, I know this for a fact, there are still going to be people who have defended Disney and Lucasfilm since Disney bought Lucasfilm, who have been defending it since day fucking one, and will continue to defend it no matter what. Even after this, even after a member of the cast goes out and calls them out on their blatant racism, even after this, you know for a fact that there are still going to be people who are either going to still continue to defend Lucasfilm and say that they actually know what they're doing, or they're just going to stay completely silent. And it's there that you will know who the Lucasfilm apologists are. It's there that you will know who the people who are who are shills, if they either choose to stay completely quiet on the subject, or they will somehow say something bad about John Boyega, or they'll still continue to call anyone who criticizes Disney and Lucasfilm as a bunch of ists and phobes. Those are the people whom you will know without a shadow of a doubt are a bunch are just a bunch of Disney shills, or they are people who know of this about Disney, but are too shallow to admit that they were wrong. All right, that's it. That's all I'm gonna have to say. Again, I highly recommend you go read the article yourself. It's a pretty damn good article. I only covered a small part of the article that just had to do with Star Wars because that's basically it had to do with this video that I was going to make. So I'm going to end it right here. Thank you guys so much for listening to me just ramble. Please remember to like, share, and if you want to support the channel, consider subscribing. And I want to give a big thank you to all of my recent subscribers. Seriously, you guys are absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for your support of this channel. And if you're watching this and you're not subscribed, but you actually like my content, all you have to do is head on down and click on the subscribe button. Doing that will really, really help support the channel. All right, I'm going to end it right here for real. Remember to stay safe and take care of yourselves. Bye.